A thirsty child looked Donald Trump in the eyes and asked for water. What happened next stunned the world. Hell had an address. Detroit, Michigan, August 15th, 2024. On a street where the sun burned like fire, 8-year-old Marcus Williams had been, standing for nearly 6 hours on asphalt so hot it melted the soles of his broken shoes. His lips were split and bleeding, each crack a wound that never healed. "Grandma, I think I'm going to die," he whispered, not as drama, but as truth. At 67, Dorothy Williams staggered beside him, her body failing after years of endless work. She had spent her last $18.50 to reach this place, hoping for a miracle, praying that the president might notice them. In her wallet, just $2.73 remained. Vendors were selling water for $8 a bottle, money she couldn't spare. Marcus's ribs jutted from his frail body. His hunger was constant, but thirst was something worse. Thirst was death walking closer. His parents had been killed 2 years earlier, stolen by a drunk driver who walked free after just 8 months. Justice never came for the poor. Why? Does God hate us? Marcus had asked her the night before. Dorothy had no answer. She couldn't tell him that life was cruel for no reason at all. Now, under that merciless sun, Marcus collapsed. His last breath rasped out, "Mr. President." Donald Trump stepped from his limousine, immaculate in his suit, his vehicle chilled to perfection. Inside, 18 bottles of ice-cold Fiji water waited. Just 10 feet away, a child lay dying of thirst. "At you." First, Trump waved to the cameras, but then Dorothy's scream cut through everything. It wasn't human. It was the raw, tearing sound of a grandmother losing the last person she loved. The crowd froze. Even Trump froze. "Water." Marcus gasped, barely audible. Trump's face changed. For once, the cameras didn't matter. For once, he saw the suffering he had been blind to all his life. "What's happening there?" he demanded, fury rising in his voice. "This child is dying. Get water, now." The transformation was instant. Trump had spent a lifetime building walls around his heart, but in that moment they all collapsed. He stepped closer to Marcus. The boy's face, so young and innocent, was like a reflection of himself long ago. Something cracked deep inside. "What's your name, son?" Trump asked, kneeling on the burning pavement. Marcus Williams," the boy whispered, struggling to open his eyes. "Where are your parents, Marcus?" "Dead. A drunk driver killed them. I only have my grandma now." The words hit Trump like a knife to the chest. He turned to Dorothy, the grandmother, her eyes swollen with silent tears. "Why don't you have water?" he asked. "We don't have money," she answered in a broken voice. "I work 5 jobs, but it's never enough." "5 jobs?" Trump repeated, stunned. "And you still can't afford water?" "We spent everything just to get here," Dorothy whispered. "I thought maybe you could tell us why Marcus's school was closed, why our neighborhood has no water. Why?" Her voice cracked completely, too much pain for words. Trump turned, furious at his team. "Doesn't anyone see this child is dying?" he shouted, his voice shaking for the first time in decades. Ignoring protocol, he shoved past the Secret Service and tore open his limousine. From the refrigerator, he grabbed a single bottle of Fiji water. When he knelt back beside Marcus, dust staining his $5,000 suit, he didn't care. For the first time in decades, he didn't care how he looked. "Here you go, champ," he said softly. Marcus's trembling hands clutched the bottle. The first sip was like life itself returning. He wept as he drank, not from sadness, but from relief. "Slowly, son. Slowly," Trump murmured, his voice tender. But then Trump noticed Marcus had saved half the water. "Why don't you finish it?" he asked. "It's for my grandma," Marcus said with a weak smile. "She's thirsty too. She always gives me her food. Now I give her my water." Trump broke. Tears streamed down his face. The first real tears since he was a boy. He turned to Dorothy. "How long have you lived like this?" "Since his parents died. 2 years." 2 years of hell. But Marcus never complains, never asks for anything. He's the best boy in the world. Trump rose, grabbed a megaphone, and thundered to the crowd of thousands. Stop everything. An American child just collapsed from thirst at my event. A boy who lost his parents. A boy who saved water for his grandmother. What kind of country are we? What kind of president am I? He turned on his staff with fury. Bring every drop of water we have. Call every restaurant, every hotel. Get water for these people now, or you're fired, all of you. Within minutes, boxes of water poured into the crowd. Trump himself handed one to Dorothy. Forgive me, he said, gripping her hands. Forgive me for not knowing. Forgive me for failing. You saved my grandson's life, she wept. No, Trump replied, tears in his eyes. He saved mine. He saved me from becoming a monster. He lifted Marcus into his arms, carrying him onto the stage. The boy weighed almost nothing. Trump's voice cracked as he faced the silent crowd. Can you see this boy, this hero? His tears wouldn't stop. He sat on the stage beside Marcus. You reminded me of something I had forgotten. Not as president, but as a man, as a brother. He took off his $75,000 Rolex and pressed it into Dorothy's hands. Sell it. Use it for whatever you need. Food, medicine, a home. Marcus looked at him, eyes wide. Why are you helping us? Nobody ever helps us. Trump hugged him tightly. Because before I'm president, before I'm rich, I'm your brother. And I won't let my brother suffer. He turned to the crowd, voice breaking. In 30 days, this neighborhood will have water fountains, free food, free doctors, and new schools. And Marcus will help me make sure it works. The crowd erupted, but Trump wasn't done. Marcus, Mrs. Williams, you're coming with me to Washington. You'll live in the White House, and you'll teach me how to be a better president, how to be a better man. The boy's weak smile lit up the stage. Can I bring my parents' picture? Of course, Trump said, holding him close. They're part of our family now. And can we eat every day? Trump's heart shattered. He kissed Marcus's forehead. You'll eat every day, son, and never go thirsty again. Whatever you want, whenever you want. You're going to have toys. You're going to have new clothes. You're going to have everything you deserve. And my grandma too? Your grandma too. She'll never work 5 jobs again. She'll never suffer again. I promise. That night, Trump couldn't sleep. He canceled all his events for the week. He locked himself in his hotel room and cried for hours. He cried for Marcus. He cried for Dorothy. He cried for all the children he had ignored. He cried for the man he had been and the man he wanted to be. At 3 a.m., Trump called Marcus at the hospital where they had taken him to rehydrate him. How are you feeling, champ? Better, Mr. President. The doctors say I'm going to be fine, but I'm scared. Scared of what? That when I wake up, all this will have been a dream. That you'll forget about us like everyone else does. Trump cried silently for a moment before responding. Marcus, listen to me very carefully. This isn't a dream. I'm not going to forget. I'll never forget. You're the most important person in my life now. You and your grandma are my family. Really? More real than ever in my life, son. The next day, Trump didn't just keep his promises. He exceeded them. He legally adopted Marcus and Dorothy. He moved them to the White House. He paid for Marcus's education at the best school in the country. He paid for the best medical treatment for Dorothy. But most importantly, he gave them love. For the first time in his life, Trump discovered what it meant to love unconditionally. He discovered what it meant to be a father. He discovered what it meant to be human. Why do you do all this? Marcus asked him one night while they were having dinner in the presidential dining room. Because you saved me, Trump replied, cutting his food. You saved me from being a monster. You saved me from dying inside. Were you thirsty too? The question was so profound that Trump was speechless for a moment. Yes, Marcus, I was thirsty. Thirsty for love. Thirsty for meaning. Thirsty for being good. And you gave me a drink. 6 months later, the transformation was complete. Trump had changed all his policies. He had dedicated his presidency to fighting poverty. He had made Marcus his most trusted advisor. You know what I learned? Marcus told Trump on his 9th birthday while blowing out the candles on a huge cake in the White House. What did you learn? That sometimes the most powerful people are the ones who are most thirsty. You were thirsty for love. I was thirsty for water. But when we shared, we both became full. Trump cried again as he had cried so many times since that day in Detroit. But now his tears were of happiness. Yes, Marcus, you were right. I was thirsty. Thirsty to be the man my father never was. Thirsty to be the man you deserve me to be. And now you're not thirsty anymore. Now I'm thirsty for something different, thirsty to do good, thirsty to love, thirsty to be better every day. A year later, Marcus gave his first speech to Congress. He was 9 years old, but he spoke like a sage. Ladies and gentlemen of Congress, he began with a clear, strong voice. My name is Marcus Williams. A year ago, I almost died of thirst. But I didn't die. And not just because President Trump gave me water. I died because he was thirsty too. Thirsty for love. Thirsty to be good. And when two thirsty people meet, they can save each other. The congressman cried, some for the first time in decades. I was just thirsty, Marcus continued. Just thirsty for water, but he was thirsty for something deeper. Thirsty to be human. And together we found what we were looking for. We found that love is more powerful than power, that sharing is more important than having, that caring is more valuable than winning. The ovation lasted 10 minutes, but Marcus wasn't finished. I want everyone to know that I'm not special because the president adopted me. I'm special because he saw me. He saw me when I was invisible. He heard me when nobody else listened. He loved me when nobody believed in him. His voice trembled. Yet he pressed on. There are millions of children like me. Children who are thirsty, hungry, and alone. If we can see one child, we can see them all. If we can save one, we can save them all. Marcus looked straight into the cameras broadcasting live. He whispered, I was just thirsty. But it wasn't only for water. It was a thirst to be good, to be loved. Together, we discovered that the deepest thirst is for love, and that thirst never ends, it only grows as we share it. The story of Marcus Williams and Donald Trump became more than a moment. It became proof that it's never too late to change, never too late to love, never too late to be human. It showed how two hearts could save each other and how even the smallest act can ripple through the world forever. Because in the end, we all thirst. Thirst for water, for love, for meaning, for recognition, for connection. And when we find someone who can quench that thirst, and we quench theirs, magic happens. Transformation happens. Humanity happens. The thirst that almost ended a child's life became the thirst that saved a president. Together they became the thirst that changed the world. Because in the end, power and wealth don't matter. What matters is that we're all human, thirsty for love, thirsty for connection, thirsty to become better. And when that thirst is met, we don't just heal ourselves, we heal the world. The story of Marcus and Trump ended as it began, with thirst. But this time it was a thirst for good, a thirst for love, a thirst for humanity, a thirst that never died, but kept them alive, bound together forever, because they weren't just a child and a president. They were two thirsty souls who found each other at the exact moment they were meant to, and sip by sip they changed the world.